Hey, what up, guys? Hope you're all well. Welcome back to Rapid Chats with Angus slash What the Duck Pod. We're trying to do both these days, so I'm gonna do it in one segment. But yeah, guys, Springboks, four-time world champions back to back. It's been more than a month now, and still feels kind of surreal to say, to be honest. But always a good feeling if you are a Bok fan, if you're an All Black fan. Well, my deepest condolences to you guys, but. This video is not about the All Blacks or anything like that. It is about the next cycle going forward. Now, no team in the World Cup has managed to go three in a row, back to back to back. And now the Springboks have an opportunity to do so. So that's the one challenge they have. The other one they have is not necessarily depth, but who's going to be next in line? Who's going to take over if someone retires? Who's going to be the next one to be bred until the next World Cup? So you saw Dwayne Vermeulen announcing his retirement after the World Cup. We might see, or definitely probably see Dion Fourie call today after 2 years. We might see the likes of Bongi Manambi call it. Who knows? Willie Leroux in the mix as well. They're not getting any younger. Faf de Klerk. I mean, they all are in their 30s now. So I mean, it's not like they can still be at their peak. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but I mean, it's very unlikely they can still be at their peak at 2027 Australia. So we need to look at who's the next guys in line. Who's going to take over from these guys? Who's going to be the next generation to take us forward to another World Cup glory, possibly? And I looked at a few names, and I only wrote down names that has not been part of the World Cup squad. So some of these guys have caps to the name, many of them have not, and I'll just give my thoughts on each on one of them. So I'll start with the loose hits. Gerard Steenekamp with the Bulls, he actually have one cap. He was part of the extended squad as the backup for the World Cup. Made his debut against Argentina. I think it was an away match, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely a promising guy in the mix. And then tight hits. We got Nathan Fouchier. Stormers captain at the moment, a very promising player for years now. I think he's destined for good things. And then at the Lions, Asanate and Tabakanye, a bit of a unit. He lost quite a few kilograms, but I think he needs to lose a bit more if he wants to make it to the top level and play at that sort of intensity. And then one of my favorites of back in the day, Walker Lowe, also back with the Bulls now. I always feel he's a bit underrated. I think he's a very strong scrummager. He's very good around the park. Played for Harlequins, who's very much known for the expansive kind of game. So you have to be fit to play there. And I think he deserves Springbok recall as well. I mentioned I think that guy like Joseph Dweba might retire going forward the next 4 years. So hookers, we might be thin. Rassi also mentioned that we might be a bit thin at hooker. So I put a few names down, and you guys can obviously agree with me, disagree with me. Let me know in the comments what you think. But first on the list is the Bulls hooker Johan Grobelaar. He's been consistent now for the Bulls for quite some time. He's pushed hard, and I think a bit unlucky too to not be selected or not be called up to the Springboks. I think he was at one stage but never selected. And then Andre Venter, the son of legendary Springbok flanker AJ Venter. Currently, unfortunately, been playing under Joseph Dweba, so not ideal for him at the Stormers, but still a very promising guy. He's one of URC. Actually scored the winning try in the final for the Stormers at this point in time. So I think in the next 4 years, if he can be utilized correctly, it could be a very, very good acquisition towards the Springboks. And then I mentioned Joseph Dweba. I'm not too convinced with him at the moment. Not performing to the level I would want to see him, and I know the potential he has. So he's got some work to do. There's guys that's gonna surpass him going forward, and if he doesn't pull his socks up, then he might be in the rugby wilderness internationally for quite some time. And then locks. So another interesting comment that Rassi made was he said that he thinks, although Eben is quite athletic, he doesn't know if he's still got a World Cup in him. Yeah, he saw the lights go down. It's load shedding my side now, but he doesn't know if Eben still got a World Cup left in him now. I actually want to disagree with Rassi, but only a fool would do that. But I'm a big Eben fan. I'm pretty sure he can still last. And as you've seen before, a guy like Victor Matfield and Brad Thorne, they've played until the late 30s and they were still fine. So I see no issue with Eben going for another World Cup. But, we have to have backups. And some of the names I thought about is JJ van der Mesht. I'm not sure if you guys remember him. He used to play for the Sharks, quite a big, huge unit. Former baby Bok as well. I think he's currently at Stade Francais, so a bit out of the limelight, but I think a very, very promising player that can still add very much value to the box, and hopefully not for France in the future, because he's been there for I think 2 or 3 years now. Um, then of course Salman Murat is capped. He got a cap against Wales last year. Storm was captain, currently injured of course, but I mean he is a capped Springbok and surely would add to those numbers going forward as well. Another one is Ruan Nurkier, also injured at the moment, Bulls lock. And yeah, he's also got a couple of caps to his name, also made his debut against Wales, and he can also add value to the box going forward, as well as Jason Jenkins, who's at Leinster at the moment. He's also very promising. I think he's got like two or three tests to his name. Made his debut against Wales in 2018 in Washington, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely quite a unit as well, and I'm pretty sure that he'll add value to the box going forward. When it comes to loose forwards, I was scratching my head as to who's going to go forward and who's not. I'm not sure if Siya Kolisi is still going to be there for the next World Cup. I think he might still be around for the next 2 years, but I mean, the guy is in his 30s now. I think he's like 33 now at the moment. So, will he make another World Cup as a captain? Maybe he will be there as more as a mentor capacity, like a Skalk Brits was in the last World Cup. So I've got a couple of names here as who I think might be the next loose forwards. Namakaba, Stormers loose forward, very much in the Dion Fourie fold. Good fetcher, good ball player. Vincent Chichuka of the Lions, or actually of the Sharks now. He used to be at the Lions. His brother Emmanuel stayed at the Lions. Very much a ball player as well. Good, hard, physical specimen. And then I've got Pepsi Buthelezi, very versatile. Played under CI before at the Sharks. Can play, I think, 6, 7 or 8, so very, very versatile. Evan Roos, a cap Springbok. Also made his debut against Wales in 2022. Got a couple of caps to his name. Was also in the backup squad for the Springboks as well for the World Cup. So definitely the next guy you would think after Jasper Wiese, for the number 8 jersey. And then Cameron Hanekom also making some name for the Bulls now at the moment, coming through the ranks. And then Frankie Horn of the Lions, I think very much a promising number 8 there as well. Very, very bruising. Very much in the Evan Roos kind of mold, I feel as well. Very athletic, quite a strong ball carrier. Very good on the ground when it comes to fetching and some cleaning out ruck. So definitely some good potential in Franco Horn. And of course, I would honestly say the magician, Achieva Daimani. Not your typical number 7 South African flanker, but geez, the boy can play. He can play. And I actually watched an interview of him before saying that, coaches always go for, I want this in the player or I want this in a number 7. And he tells him, listen, I can give you 10, 15 meters of one run where other guys will give it to you in 15 carries, So I think with Rassie and Jock, or with Rassie now, Jock being gone, I think with Rassie's open-minded approach, he might give Achiever a shot because he definitely brings something different to your normal loose forward, like a Kwagga Smith does, at the moment as well for the Springboks. So definitely not any closed doors towards him at the moment. And then number 9s, now, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but when Rassie and Jock took over, there was a lot of concern as to who's the next guy after Faf de Klerk. They experimented a bit. There was Ivan van Zyl, there was Embers Papier. They didn't make the cut. And then 2019, along came Marshall Yankees, had a blinder for the Stormers, got the Springbok call-up, made a World Cup squad, won a World Cup. And then all of a sudden, the next World Cup, they take 4 scrum-offs to the tournament. It's almost unheard of. So, I mean, you got the Jaden Hendricks, you got the Grant Williams, you've got the Faf de Klerk, who might also retire in the next couple of years. And, I mean, going forward, there's still some more guys in the pipeline. And I'm quite impressed with Mone van den Berg of the Lions. I think he's, apart from his length, he's quite a tall fella. I think he's got great service off the base. I think he's a game breaker. I also feel that, he can also bring a very physical edge towards the box, which they do love. They love physical guys. And then I mentioned Ambrose Papier. He's got 7 caps to his name for the Bulls, or for the Boks, playing at the Bulls at the moment. Playing under Zach Berger, which I also think is quite a promising talent. And then Imad Khan of Western Province and the Stormers. I haven't seen too much of him at the moment. He's still very much a junior. But I think in 2 years' time we'll see more of him, and hopefully, he can get more exposure for the Stormers going forward after 2 years and maybe play himself into that Springbok reckoning. Playoffs. I mean, we went into this tournament this year with only one recognized fly-off, which is Martin Lebok. Only had 7 caps to his name at the point in time. And of course, Andre Pollard came into the squad afterwards after the injury to Malcolm Marx. And obviously played a big role in South Africa winning the World Cup back to back. But, going forward, we need some more backup, and it's been an issue for us for a while now. And the first guy on my list is Shasha Faimak and Zulu. Now, this kid, I think he's only 21 years old now, but he has actually been part of the Springbok squad for a brief period. I think at the end of the year last year, at the end of year tour, before being demoted to the SAA side. So he's got a bit of a taste of Springbok glory, or Springbok culture, I should say. And he's definitely on the radar of the Springbok selectors. And then Jordan Hendrickse, look, I don't know. I think he's very promising, but I don't think he's shown enough promise in my books to be selected for the box. But the Lions looking better than they did for quite some time. Maybe this is the year that he breaks through and actually lives up to that potential, and we could see the Hendrickse brothers teaming up the World Cup 2027. So who knows? Sanela Nohamba, the guy actually in his place now, playing number 10 for the Lions, very good number 9, but also playing very well at 10 now. I think that, maybe he's the next guy to actually put his hand up. And then Kate Voliter, he was part of the SA Green versus Gold. I'm not sure if you guys remember that. It was during a very weird time, being COVID. Green versus Gold match at Newlands, where he was the starting fly-off, and he was exceptional, absolutely exceptional. It was like old Springbok trials where the guys played against each other, and he was brilliant. But unfortunately for Kate, injuries haven't helped him a lot. He's at the Lions at the moment, doing his rehab there, and hopefully we see him in red and white going forward this season, and doing his thing, because I think he's very promising. It's just unfortunately for him, he's not very lucky when it comes to injuries. And then centers, I think another, I wouldn't say issue, but I mean Lukani isn't the youngest anymore as well. Jesse's not getting any younger, although I think he's still maybe got a World Cup in him. And then Damon the Islander also, being like in his 30s now, also not getting younger. So I mentioned Shasha Faimak and Zulu. He can play inside center and fly off and fullback, so there's quite some versatility there. But first guy on my list is Dan du Plessis. I put a question mark next to his name because I'm not sure, he hasn't played for the Stormers this season as of yet, but I mean, he had some good form last year to the point where people were talking of him as a potential Springbok bolter. So, maybe if he comes back again for the Stormers, he can show a class again. And then Ruan Nel, also question mark next to his name, mainly because of his age, also in his 30s now, but one of the better defensive organizers in the Stormers setup, and also a very, very good defender. So maybe he can add value. He was part of the Springbok squads under Henneke Meyer as well, I think. With Siabelo Sonatla, and also under Rassia and Jock in 2018. So he's been there before. And then Henko van Wyk of the Lions, very, very good number 13, very promising. Played a very good game this past weekend as well against Zebre. So definitely a prospect going forward. Also former Baby Bok, so definitely some potential there. And the last name I'm going to mention, I hope some of you guys know it, but it's Lorenzo Julius. He's signed with the Sharks now, but he's a junior Springbok this year, but very, very, very promising center. It's probably one of the best talents I've seen this whole year, young talents, to be honest, because he's a hard hitter, he's a hard runner, he's got a step to him, he's got pace, he's got everything you want of a number 13 and more. So I think he played a bit of wing for the Baby Boks this year as well. So that's a name we want to see going forward, making some strides, and hopefully in 4 years' time, that's a name we want to see in the World Cup as well in 2027 in Australia. And then, of course, wingers. Springboks are blessed at the moment. You got a Kurtley Arendse, you got Kanan Moody, who might even play 13 going forward. But I've added a few more guys to the list. First is Leo Lenzas. Also, not in the right side of his 20s, but still, I think he's still got a lot to offer as well. And then Edel van der Merwe of the Lions, he's been knocking on the door for quite some time. But as I mentioned as well, Springboks have been blessed with wingers. I mean, another name who I might think will retire in a few years is Makazole Mapimpi. We've already seen him going down in the pecking order with the Springboks now, with Kurtley Arendse replacing him. So, I mean, how much does Cheslin Kolbe and Makazole still have left in them? I'm not sure. So maybe Edel van der Merwe is the next guy to step up next to a Kurtley Arendse. I mean, Imagine a backline of David Willems at fullback, the two wingers being Edward and Kurtley, Kanan at 13. I'm not sure, maybe who's going to be at 12 at that stage, but I mean, it sounds exciting, right? So, I mean, there's definitely some potential for these guys to actually make it the green and gold. And then fullbacks. Now there's quite a few names I can mention here, and a few you will probably raise your eyebrows for. And the first one is Henry Immelman. I think he signed with the Bulls, but I'm not too sure about that. He's been very, very good overseas. Very, very solid under a high ball. I think he played in France, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, he's been everywhere. Devin Williams too. We are the same age, I think. So I'm 31 now, so also not the right side of the spectrum when it comes to age. But played for the Bulls now. Played well in the URC. Finally got his opportunity at a higher level. So maybe, I don't know. Going forward, we've seen Dion Philip make his Springbok debut at 35. So you never know. Cohen Bosch, maybe a better fullback than a fly half. Both options, of course, but I think maybe that's his position for the Springboks. But David Willemse being in the mix, there should be a backup for him as well going forward. So I'm sure they'll look at one of these guys. And of course, a proven World Cup winner at the moment, not in his best form, is Warwick Galant. Is also in the mix still. So yeah, there's a few names we can look forward to 2027. I think I might have missed a few, but you guys let me know what you think. Which guys I should not select. Who you don't think should be part of the list. Who do you think should be part of the list? And yeah, hopefully come 2027 there will be quite a good couple of players, young players, exciting players for the Springboks in 2027, and hopefully they can do the three-peat and make it back to back to back. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.